Hello everybody, welcome back to the workshop. So today we're going to continue on with step 2 of making a convex butcher tool. Now we've already made a flat butcher tool or a straight butcher tool, as what you see here. We've already made this in another video and we got it all hardened and tempered up. Now essentially we're going to make a convex butcher tool. Now a convex butcher tool is going to have a crown or a radius to the leading edge. And so we're going to set this up in the vise, and we want to set up from the horizontal plane. We want to make sure that this is poking out at about a 60-degree angle. Now, the reason for this being, and you can check this, by the way, with a speed square, if you have a speed square, and you can see that it's got a 60-degree mark here. All you do is you just set that up, and you sight across this as if it's running right in line with that 60-degree angle mark. It doesn't have to be exact, but you want this to pretty much match that pitch if you can. If it's not the right pitch, you can always redo it. But this way, now we can take and file straight across, nice and flat, and ensure we're going to get the right 60-degree bevel on it. Now I'm going to file this off. Now you can take this to a belt sander, but I have found that I have more control doing it this way. So we're filing this down until we get a beveled edge all the way down to the other side. So we want a sharp edge. Then what we will do is then we will crown it off or radius it in this direction, and we'll actually have to turn the chisel around in the vise to do that. So let's get this filed down. As you can see, this is pretty quick with the file. One thing to mention here is with all of my chasing tools, I put them in a pickle, which is just nothing more than a commercial grade vinegar solution. You can do it with just household plain white vinegar. But that helps remove the mill scale and things and forging scale off the tool. And in my opinion, makes the filing a lot easier from what I have found. You could also consequently, you could do it in muriatic acid or something of that nature. Or you could just take it to the belt sander and you don't have to worry about none of that. I personally, I like filing. Plus it's a little better for video. You'll notice as as you cut with your stuff, you'll eventually get chips that want to stick inside the teeth of your file. And it'll feel like a scratchiness with the file. And then all you have to do basically when you fill that, you just need to take, if it's not clearing the chips, just take a file carder and file it off like so. So we're almost there. We got a little more to go here. Like I said, because we're locking this, we're not having to angle our file one way or the other to try to keep an exact angle each time. We've already got this locked in, so really if we just come in flat, it should always stay a consistent bevel all the way across. And that's what we're wanting. Okay, so we'll get this filed up here. Alright, now we're down to a fairly sharp edge out at the edge. And so now we're going to tune this up. So the way we're going to do that, set this down for a second so it's not laying on the bench. We're going to flip this all the way over. And we're going to true up the back side here by just taking off just ever so slightly an amount of material. Just like so, just to true up that bottom edge. Looks good. Okay, so that's got that squared up. Hopefully you all can see this just fine. Let me zoom you in just a little closer. Still in focus here. So we've got that squared up a little bit. We can also do that to all sides, all faces if you will. You can lock it down horizontally in the vise and just square up all the faces. Don't get too carried away with it. The faces don't have to be exactly perfectly square in order for this to still work as a butcher. It's mainly the leading edge. So I'm just going to true up the faces to make sure everything's nice and squared up. And we're looking good at that. So there we are, just a couple minutes with a file, and there you have it. So now is the time that we have got to create a crown on this. So for that, we're actually going to lock it in the vise opposite. Excuse me. Ooh. We are actually going to lock it in the vise. We were like this, but now to file a crown, we need to be set like this. And we need to take off our corners. Now usually I would do this in this direction. So that's what I'm going to do now. You just stand it straight up, and we are going to file radiuses off. Now I'm going to put it here, so hopefully you guys can see the corner get filed off a little bit better for the camera. And I'm just going to put it at a little bit of an angle. And I'm just going to file. Actually, that won't work for me the best. I'm going to go ahead and rotate it back this way. The way I would normally do it. Basically, what you want to file now is you want to file, say, a 1/8 inch or 3/16 maybe bevel on the edge of this. So just keep taking that off until you get a nice 3/16 or 1/8 inch bevel, depending on what looks about right. Remember, you got to take off the same material on the other side. So it looks like 1/8 inch is about where I'm going to stop on that. So I'm going to roll it around in the vise, and I'm going to do the same thing on this side. I'm going to give it an 1/8 inch bevel at approximately a 45 degree angle from the corner. Okay, that's good. Now I'm going to come back, if you will. I want to true up the face. So put it back at that roughly 60 degree bevel. I want to true down this face a little bit. I can see where it's a little more beveled to one side than the other. Just where I even all that up. Okay. So now last but not least, now that we've got these facets in here, so there's an 1/8 inch facet, an 1/8 inch facet. Now we're going to take off those facets and round it in. So this way we get a completely round profile. Let me go ahead and clip out and get you a little closer so you can see what I'm talking about. So this is what I'm talking about right here. As you can see, I've got an 1/8 inch facet and an 1/8 inch facet on both sides of those, and I'm already starting to get somewhat of a roundish profile to that. So now all we're going to do is remove those facets and smooth it off to where now this is nice and round. And that will give us our Convex Butcher Tool. So let me zoom you back out and we'll round off those facets. So we'll just remove our corners now, smooth off those facets and try to radius them into the flat from one side. We'll do that to the other as well. Again, we're just kind of rocking and rolling the file over, just trying to blend in that radius and not file in the same place twice. So this is getting this all nice and rounded up and radiused. We'll do it from the other side. And you just want to keep going until what you'll notice is that there's still a little bit of a flat right here on top. And it's like a shiny spot. And then you'll see darker spot. As that radius is completely over to the center, that shiny spot will become even across the entire piece. You won't see a flat spot anymore, essentially. It'll radius completely round. And that's how you know that you've gotten that over, is that diminishing flat spot. And like I said, you can make these of different radiuses. This just happens to be a 1/4 inch, if you will, butcher. A 1/4 inch convex butcher that we're working on here. Yours should be a 3/8 inch convex butcher. That should be the tool that you want to have. We got that there taken care of. Got that there taken care of. Good to go. Yeah, so you want yours to be 3/8 of an inch or 9.5 mil. That's where this is 1/4 inch or 6 mil. And yeah, basically put. So there we go. And that is how you take and file your convex butcher tool. Now, in the next step of this series, I will go ahead and do the hardening and tempering and explain what we're doing there. And then, as always, you want to make sure you dress off your back, dress this to a slight crown. I won't spend time on that today, but the next video in this tool series here, this chasing tools, this next step will be hardening and tempering of this. And then the next tool that will be coming out in this series will be the concaved version. And that takes a little extra special filing there to get that. But again, it's necessary to take on the designs that we are going to be undertaking in future projects. So, without further ado, thank you all for watching. Like I always say, God bless you, and we will catch you on the next one.